perfecto. Vale. Venga, te cuelgo, ¿eh? Haz una prueba a ver si se te oye, ¿vale? Venga. Hola, Loli, ¿me oyes? Hola, Loli, tú me oyes, ¿verdad? Yo ahora te he habilitado la cámara, ahora te permito el micro a ver si funciona. Podemos probar. Sí, no te oigo de momento. A ver,
Hola, buenos días. Soy Chisca de Comunicación.
hola, Chisca.
Em, Loli, ¿puede ser que tú tengas el micrófono apagado y lo tengas que activar tú? Porque a mí me sale que lo tienes habilitado. Pues ya que lo tengo abierto, le voy a dar a imprimir, ¿vale? El certificado de evaluación anual y el otro, lo pones tú en el para que me pagos. Ya vi. Yo vi. No te espero. Pero no te puedo dar nada ahora hasta que no lo haga. El único que puede sustituir. Sí, es el único que puede sustituir de que ¿vale? Tan pronto tenga esto, te lo paso. Y el certificado pasado a PDF para pasarse a la PDF. Las hojas las últimas, con diferencia, y las gestionamos como de. Las últimas hojas, son las que son
Loli, te hemos vuelto a permitir, hola, te hemos vuelto a permitir cámara y micro. Si podemos hacer la prueba. Loli, ¿tú me oyes?
Hola, bon dia.
Good morning, everyone. You don't mind we start in 2 or 3 minutes, okay? Thank you very much.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
We can do it.
Okay. So I will speak with the mobile. That's fine. Okay.
Perfect. So I start, okay? Okay, good morning, everyone. My name is Carlos Bibiloni, and on behalf of the Mallorca Chamber of Commerce, I would like to welcome you to this webinar on digital innovation hubs. First things first, I would like to inform you that this webinar is being recorded and that we will share the link with you, okay? This event takes place in the frame of the Interreg Euromed project of Revive, which brings together 9 partners and 4 associate organizations from 7 different countries with a common objective for smarter and green rural areas in the Mediterranean. Among the objectives of Revive, partners work together for deliver capacity and skills development, service design, engage the stakeholders in the phase of co-design and implementation, of community-based innovative business models and digital innovation hubs. Okay, today, the webinar is the first Revive International course, and the project's partners have decided to focus on the role of digital innovation hubs for better understanding how these hubs work, how they can support the adoption of innovative technologies and the development of digital capabilities. We hope that this topic is of your interest. And now I give the floor to Dolores Ordóñez from Any Solution, who will lead today's the webinar. So, Loli, finally, we are happy to be here with you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the invite, and sorry for these technical issues. I'm going to start sharing the screen. If you can see it, it should be loading.
Yes.
Can you see it? Okay, perfect. Okay, so what we want today is to speak a little bit what are the digital innovation hubs and how they work. I will make a general presentation of the digital innovation hubs, and then we will have the examples of all the digital innovation hubs, that you have a better flavor of what are the digital innovation hubs about and what they are doing. What is a digital innovation hub? When the European Commission launched all their strategy for innovation, digital transformation, what they wanted to reach is to help. At the beginning, it was addressed more to public administration. There, the concept was evolving towards the companies, and then it was they reached this momentum in which they were reaching how these tools can become one-stop shop for supporting the digital transformation, not only public administrations, but in general, the SMEs, the companies, and the territories. And this is very important because we need to see the digital innovation hubs as this new tool that in most of the cases, it works a kind of umbrella of any other initiative that exists at the level of the territory. And they are addressing all the challenges of digital transformation. And this is very important because at the end, it should be aligned with different initiatives that are happening at the level of the territory. When we check which is the definition of the digital innovation hubs, and you see there the acronym with an E in front, which is EDIs, and the EDIs are the European Digital Innovation Hubs. They want to support the businesses, the production processes, but also to help that to introduce digital technologies. At the end, the Digital Innovation Hubs wants to act as facilitators to the companies to have this access to this technical expertise, to test what's happening, and also to provide this possibility to know the technology and to take the technology before investing that. So that's why you are going to listen sometimes during this speech, this test before invest. So the European Commission, the public administration is quite aware about the cost of investing in new technologies without knowing exactly how these technologies are going to be adapted to the business models of the companies. So that's why there is this new concept of test before invest, in which the digital innovation hubs allow to the company to know how the technologies work, which are the barriers to adopt it, which are going to be the cost of maintenance, how these technologies are going to be adapted to the processes of the businesses. This is one of the key points of the digital innovation hubs. But at the same time, the digital innovation hubs are pushing innovation, and innovation is not for free. So what is important also in the digital innovation hubs is to facilitate this access to funding schemes, but also to capacity building, to skills on how all these digital transformation processes are going to take place. So supported by funding schemes, but also by knowledge, by skills. And it's important also, it is not mentioned many times, but the European Commission is quite aware about the sustainability and the environmental challenges, and we are within the European Green Deal with these big challenges that we are facing at the level of the European Union, and we have also these objectives of reducing CO2 emissions. So when we are speaking about digital transformation, we cannot skip thinking about sustainability and other concepts as circularity. So all these processes in which the companies are supported by the DIHs are also aligned with this Green Deal scheme, with all the policies related to sustainability and circularity. This is one of the pictures that sometimes you know more, because the Digital Innovation Hub has a definition in the center with the 4 main pillars of Digital Innovation Hub, as I was explaining. Test before invest, and then depending on the countries, the importance that has been given to each of the pillar is completely different, but test before invest is being one of the main ones. How support to find investments, and investments is understood in the broad way. It is not just investment as a loan, but also any kind of funding that could be helpful for the business to improve their digital transformation and the digital processes, the adoption of new technologies. Skills and training, because we cannot adopt technologies without this capacity building and to know how to use it. And what is important also in the digital innovation hubs is to generate the ecosystem. So in the digital innovation hubs, they are trying to push the generation of innovation ecosystems to promote and boost networking activities within all these territories. And this is also very important because each DIH it's aligned with the regional strategies, but at the same time they are aligned also with the main economic activities of the territory. So how we are going to align the different sectors in order to push for this digital transformation in the territories, it's so important. And that's why when they started thinking in who could be involved in a DIH, it emerged a lot of entities. So of course, we are speaking about skills, we are speaking about capacity building. So any kind of research, technology organizations, technical universities are there. Also to collaborate with industry associations, clusters, European Enterprise Europe Network, accelerators, and so on. So there are a huge amount of participants. This is just a limited number, of course, Chamber of Commerce, regional governments, companies, because the concept of digital innovation hubs has been evolving along these last years, and we are in a second phase. So in this period in which the European Commission it's improving the concept and how the digital innovation hubs have to work. There are this network of 240 EDIs. EDIs are the ones that in the a more strict definition of the European Commission, the ones that are receiving money, but then we will see that there are other DIHs that are also considered EDIs, but they are not receiving money from the Commission. I will explain it later on. When we are mentioning which is the level of digital transformation, this is very important because at the end of the day, we see that there are a lot of disparities in how the companies and the territories are digitally evolving. So there are digital transformation is clear that is key for the competitiveness of European territories, but the level of digitalization is completely different from one sector to another, but also from one territory to another. So at the end, the digital innovation hubs are supporting all these digital transformation concepts in order to generate also these balances at the level of digitalization, at the level of all the European Union. And that's why within the digital innovation hubs, there is a specific task in which the digital innovation hubs are working together in order to generate these connections and to generate these learnings from one digital innovation hub to another, and also supporting each to another in order that everybody gets this knowledge and can help their companies and their territories to be to advance fastly towards this digital transformation. But if we take a look on these statistics from the European Commission, we see how the companies are, which is the digital intensity of the companies at the level of the European Union. And if we are in this framework of this Interreg Euromed, and we take a look to the countries that are participating in the project, and we see the average of the European Union, so we see that most of them are more in the right part of the graphic. That's why it's so important to generate alignments and to work together within the areas, but also to know who are the most advanced ones to work together with them. And the digital innovation hubs allow also this possibility to work together. As I mentioned, there are different types of digital innovation hubs. At the level of the European Commission, within the Digital Europe program, which is one of the most complex and biggest projects at the level of the European Union to fund digital technological activities, it has been already 2 calls in which the European Commission have funded some of the DIHs up to 50%. So 50% was funded by the European Union, and the Digital Europe program foresees that the other 50% comes directly from the member states, but this is something that was under discussion, and not all the member states had the same way of working. There were other DIHs, European DIHs, that got the score to be an European DIH, but at the level of each member state, it was decided the number of DIHs that could be supported, and the European Commission recognized them with what it was called a seal of excellence. So there are those that receive money from the European Commission, and those that receive the seal of excellence are the ones that are identified or recognized by the European Commission as EDIs. But when we started speaking about this, the digital strategy of the European Commission, it appeared a high number of DIHs. So there exist other DIHs that didn't got this support from the European Commission, but they are working with the same tools. They want to be involved in the networks, and they are considered themselves as a DIHs, but they don't have this recognition by the European Commission, nor in terms of funding, but also nor in terms of the seal of excellence. I put here the link, since you are going to have these slides, and there is this EDI catalog. You have the filter, and you can also use the zoom. So if you check in general, there are 460 DIHs. So this is in general. So those are the ones that receive money from the European Commission, the ones that have the seal of excellence, and others that recognize themselves as a DIH. So if you go there, you can also search with the filters, depending on the sector, depending on the technology, and also where they are located. In the list, you will find all the information from the DIHs, including the contact email for each of the DIHs. So for you, it's also interesting, because if you go to this website, you will have all the contacts of all these 460 DIHs that are participating at the level of the European Union and beyond, because you will see that there are other European DIHs that are not located in Europe. When the European Commission saw the high number of DIHs that were funded by them, they mentioned that, okay, we really need to organize them. So, and the way to organize them, it was to create the network of European DIHs. And for that, they make a big tender. And with this big tender, they create the Digital Transformation Accelerator, so the DTA. So you are going to see in many pages DTA directly. So the DTA is the central node. It's the big contract that different entities were aligned and won this tender to help all the European DIHs, the one with funding, the one with seal of excellence, to work together to generate this common knowledge, to generate capacity building activities. There are a lot of activities related to training, to generate best practices. There are this annual event also in Brussels, and to generate also the links with the different activities. They are aligned, and they are quite aligned with what the European Commission was mentioned at broad level, at European level, but also they are taking into account which are the priorities of the different DIHs in their fields. So that's why you will see that there are some activities that are directly related to the three main technologies that the European Commission decided that were the ones that were going to push the digital transformation of the territories and the companies in Europe, that were the high performance computing, artificial intelligence, and cybersecurity. Indeed, when the DIHs wanted to participate in the European network of DIHs, they had to select in the application form in which of these three technologies they want to work. And then they had to mention in which sector or sectors they were working. So that's why this is how it's organized. Due to the complexity, because at the end we are speaking about a high number of DIHs, within the network, different groups, working groups have been created. So we have specific working groups for AI, as you see here. But for example, there are other working groups, for example, in tourism. So, and I think it's important for you to know, because if you are a European Digital Innovation Hub, you can ask to participate in these groups, and this knowledge is generated in a more a smaller group, and I think Nicola will explain it later on. The European Commission also wanted that the DIHs were more focused, so they got a degree of specialization also based in the strategies that exist at regional level. So based on the technologies that each DIH had to select, AI, high performance computing, cybersecurity, they had to check which other technologies were aligned with these main three main ones, and then in which areas these technologies were going to be applied in order to be to promote this digital transformation. So this is one of the tables that exists at the level of the European Union. What the European Commission was thinking is, how can we better promote the digital transformation in each of the sectors that are impacting at the level of the territories, and which technologies are used. Being quite aware that by only mentioning AI or high performance computing, the digital transformation doesn't happen from one day to another. This is important because we have to understand the digital transformation as a process. And when we are discussing about SMEs or even micro SMEs, and you say, okay, so tomorrow you have to start working in AI, it is not so easy. So this means a process, this means capacity building, this means that we have to support them, we have to help them to be accelerated, we have to generate this ecosystem in which the different companies work together, and they got the support also from other companies as university, chamber of commerce, accelerator centers, or whatever. At the end, the European Commission wants to generate this network of excellence, and it is important because at the end, what it is allowed within this network of European DIHs is that they work together one with each other. So what does it mean? If a DIH thinks at the level of the territory that they have a company that they want to participate in a project related to high performance computing, or they need a high computation need, and at the level of this territory, there are no these capacities in terms of allowing them to have access to this high performance computing, or even the skills, this DIH can look for in the network and to ask to other DIH to support them in offering these services. And this is very important because at the end, the European Commission, what they want is that all the network actuates as a supporters of any company that is located in any place at the level of the European Union. So companies working in Mallorca, they can got expertise from DIH that are located, I don't know, in the Netherlands or any other country. So and this generates also this support among all the DIHs, because they are quite aware that at the level of its territory, there are not all the capacities that are needed to push this digital transformation. Another important aspect of the DIHs is that the DIHs have to offer services. And then, because we have these big four pillars, we have the test before invest, the capacity building, the access to funding, the networking activities, but those are big lines of working. So how can we define specific activities that are the ones that the companies really need? How can we better support these companies? And those activities that are only known by the entities that are participating in the DIHs, because they know much better the ecosystem with which they are working. So at the level of it, those are only examples. I took the ones of Digitur, which is the digital innovation hub of the Balearic Islands, the digital innovation hub of the AI in tourism and agro. And at the end of the day, the DIH of the Balearic Islands, for example, has decided to work in all the sectors. Of course, tourism is the main activity at the level of the Balearic Islands, but since we have only one DIH, this DIH is supporting all the industrial sectors of the islands. So we have decided a number of services. Of course, this is not a number of activities and that's all. This is a live list of activities that the different members of the DIH is offering to the companies at the level of the islands in order to help them to accelerate their digital transformation. And you can see them in the different in the different areas, because at the end it is really adapted to the needs. So this is just to mention as inspiration, but at the level, I'm sure that Paulo, Nicola, any of the next speakers will go more in detail explaining the services that they are offering. Well, what is also important is to generate the activities that are going to help this digital transformation. And digital transformation is something that has to be understood as a process in which we know the actors that we have at the level of the territories. We have some policies and strategies, and we align all of them in order to promote this digital transformation. So we really need to think we have to implement some activities in the short, midterm, but we have to think in the long term. It's very difficult to think in the long term in a period like the one in which we are living now, in which the technological advances and the digital transformation is evolving so fast. So that's why it's very important to have clear plans in how we are going to support these companies to adapt themselves to all these challenges. What it's very important, and this is part of the activities that are being implemented at the level of the DIHs, and something that we have been also working at the level of the Balearic Islands, is that we need an institutional leadership. And this institutional leadership should be aligned with regional policies. It doesn't matter if it's S3 or S4. I can tell you that the Digital Innovation Hub of the Balearic Islands has the support of the regional government, but in our case is led by the Chamber of Commerce of Mallorca. It was a decision taken by the different entities that are located at the level of the island. And in our case, it was quite natural that the main institutions that are working in innovation and digital transformation at the level of the islands, from the regional administration with the public companies, the university with its foundation, clusters, and so on, they came together to work towards this digital transformation. Because what is also important is not to reinvent the wheel. What is important is to generate synergies. And one of the points that is mentioned when we are working with the DIHs is to be aligned with other existing initiatives that at the end of the day, they are also funded by the European Commission as the European Enterprise Network. So we have to check what exists at the level of the region, and we have to see how the digital innovation hubs are going to help the different initiatives that exist, perhaps sometimes only as a way to better coordinate, to try to avoid overlappings, to put together the different actors that are working in innovation, digital transformation, technology developments, and so on, together on the same table to speak which are going to be the next steps and how can they make the most of the fact of participating in a European DIH that belongs to a bigger network in which they can work together with other DIHs at the level of the European Union. And what is also important is to check which are complementarities, because we are seeing that in any period, and now after COVID, we had all the next generation funds, a lot of strategies, a lot of funds are coming to local level, regional level, national level. So how can we align all these initiatives in order to generate some basement for all the activities that we want to implement? It is not just to implement things because we have received this money and that's all, but we want to generate a seed of this digital transformation to help our companies to be adapted to the needs and also to this evolving global world in which we're living, and that makes that competitiveness is every time more complex. So I think it's very important to check what's at the level of the European Union, to use the digital innovation hubs as a tool to be informed, but also to use it as a way to align all the different instruments, strategies, and initiatives that exist at the level of the territory. Just to finalize, because I don't want to take the time to the next speakers, we have some lessons learned. So we speak about digitalization, but digitalization happens at different levels. We cannot mention for a company, okay, you have to be digitized. So we really need to have a purpose. Why you need to be digitized, and which are the technologies, which are the paths that better fits to you to get this digitalization, and how this digital transformation is going to help you in being more competitive, in being more profitable, in generate more qualified jobs. So at the end of the day, we really need to go a little bit more to the point, to go more to the ground. And that's why it's so important that the DIHs are working with the entities that really know what's happening at the level of the territory. Working together is challenging, and we can see it also at the level of the Balearic Islands. So we have different entities with different legal backgrounds, with different mandates from the regional government and so on. So we see the digital innovation hubs as an excuse to work all together. So we have this mandate from the European Commission. It's a tool that is working in all member states. You have seen the huge number of DIHs that exist. And perhaps sometimes just the mention of having this brand to work with the DIH is a good excuse to work together, because we cannot give for granted that, oh, wow, tomorrow we work all together. So each of us will have our day-to-day, we have our mandates, we have our strategies, and the DIHs is the way to make them to converge. There are a lot of barriers to be overcome, and this is something that we are finding also at European level. So sometimes it's always mentioned that the DIHs have to work all together because the services that can be given by DIHs in other countries can be offered to the companies that we have at the level of our territory, but it's not always easy. There are some barriers that our language is still there. Not all the companies are able to be internationalized. And then we have a lot of these three main technologies that the European Commission has decided to be the ones that are going to push for this digital transformation. So AI, high performance computing, and cybersecurity. But not all SMEs and not all public administrations are ready to go for these big technologies. So I think sometimes it's very important to understand how these technologies are being produced. So, and sometimes, and in our case, we push for this AI, but we understand that before AI is data. So, and we really need to establish which are the paths in order to reach the big objective, but being very aware on what exists at the level of the territory and which are the paths that we can create for our companies. That's all from my side. If you have any question, I'm here available to answer your questions. Thank you. I stopped sharing, so I don't know if someone wants to ask something.
My suggestion here, Dolores, is maybe if there's any question, we can wait till the end of the presentations because we are a little bit late.
Okay.
Okay.
Perfect.
Okay. Hello to you all. I'm Lydia Tomás. I work together with Dolores at Any Solution. And now it's time to see more real examples. We have here coordinators of digital innovation hubs around the Mediterranean region. We will have Paulo Abreu from Madeira, Anixi Antonacodi as well from Cyprus, Nicola Bianchi from Italy, and Damir Miedviet from Croatia. So I will just give the floor to the first one, to Paulo Abreu. Paulo, if you like, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Good morning to you all. First of all, thank you to my friends from Mallorca for the invitation. It's always a pleasure to see you and collaborate with you. So now I will try to share my screen for my presentation. Is that okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great. So Dolores already mentioned most of the things that we should know about digital innovation hubs. So that makes my life a little bit easier. So my name is Paulo Abreu. I'm head of projects and innovation of Erditi. Erditi is the regional agency for the development of research, technology, and innovation of Madeira. And we got into this idea of the digital innovation hubs because we really had to. Digital transformation is something that's not only a trend, it's a must for all regions in Europe, and Madeira, of course, couldn't be left behind. And so we decided to coordinate what we call the Smart Islands Hub, which I'm going to talk to you a little bit right now. But before we get into the Digital Innovation Hub, I always like remembering people why things are happening as they're happening. We're living in an era in which technology evolves at an exponential rate. This is because we are doubling processing capacity, data storage, and data communication every year at an incredible rate. And these tools, these innovations allow us to create incredible tools that really change the way we work, the way we communicate, even the way we relate to each other. And at the same time, it creates problems for, let's say, companies with classical business models and opportunities for new companies to come in and bite a little bit of their market share. And so we all need to be, let's say, we all need to be on this train. Even the most stable and biggest companies need to understand this, and also the opportunity for newcomers and new ideas to come into the market. So Dolores already explained what a digital innovation hub is. In our case, in Portugal, we actually have a fifth category of services, which is acceleration and incubation support, which, to be honest, our digital innovation hub hasn't really used yet, but that's a long story. But one thing I would like to mention is that the idea behind the digital innovation hubs is that we're supposed to, and we thought of this like this, we're supposed to create a type of organization that has all the necessary knowledge and skills that are difficult to replicate in just one company, meaning that we provide a kind of service that's very hard for the market in itself to replicate. And that, I think, is one of the major advantages of having digital innovation hubs, because you have research and technology organizations, universities, business associations, and so on, working together to create services that can really help entities of our regions. And of course, Dolores talked about all of this. So the Smart Islands Hub is one case of a seal of excellence. We do not have European funding. We do have Portuguese resilience and recovery funding, and the other half is from the entities that are part of the Digital Innovation Hub itself. And we work, the initial idea was to work with more technologies than focusing, narrowing down on one, because when you mention around the Mediterranean, Madeira is a little bit further outside in the Atlantic, and so we're far away from decision centers, and we can't knock on any door, and we have access to all the let's say the technology. But we were a little bit too ambitious, and now I have here in bigger letters in the slide, we have AI and cybersecurity, because they are our main bets. I mean, nowadays, if you don't work in some way or form with AI, you're already behind. And so this is a message that I think is really important to send, which is even though we can touch other technologies, artificial intelligence is really the core subject, and cybersecurity is important because, let's say, it creates the trust for a digital economy. And speaking of economical sectors, we also went for several sectors. We were, again, a little bit greedy because we wanted to help a lot of people. And you don't see tourism here because tourism has a lot of other projects and is a strong part of our economy. So we wanted really to diversify the economic sectors a bit, which in this case kind of works a little bit better than diversifying technologies. And this for me is one of my favorite slides when we talk about digital transformation, and I try to show it in every presentation about digital innovation hubs. Dolores mentioned process in digital transformation. Well, we call it a framework. essentially, you don't transform a company or a public entity in 1 week or 1 day or 1 week or 1 month. It's a long process, and it has different levels of transformation. And so this framework shows you a top level, which begins with a strategy driven by digital. So you need to have your, let's say, your decision makers on board for a digital transformation. On the second level, you have digitizing the core, which means your main processes need to be thought of in digital format. And then you have the possibility also to take advantage of new digital growth, so you can expand and you can internationalize. And only at the third level, we start talking about people and organization, preparing people for digital transformation with capacity building and organization as a whole. Then, of course, you have data and analytics to help make informed decisions. And only then we talk about the technology that I mentioned before, picking the right technology for each organization and not thinking of pushing technology as a whole to the same for all companies. And of course, nobody does digital transformation on their own. You need to work your ecosystem. Now, what we tried to do in our Digital Innovation Hub was try to apply the service categories of a Digital Innovation Hub into this framework. And this is in Portuguese, I'm sorry. This is a program that's being prepared by us right now. It's one of our services. And it's an intensive digital transformation program in 4 modules that replicate that digital transformation framework that I just mentioned. And I thought this was a good example to bring, because we found out that services, ad hoc services, don't work like we expected them to work. It has to be something that makes sense and with clearly planned in time. A customer journey process is also something that we thought it was important, because as it's a process and a long process, you need to follow, you need to define a path for that digital transformation. And a customer journey process is something that allows you to understand what your customers and the companies and even public entities need to do, planned along a timeline. And of course, the main objectives are to improve the digital maturity of the organizations and the population. It's really important for organizations to understand disruptive technology. You can't delegate this understanding. You really need to understand. You don't need to be technical, but you need to understand what they can do. A third objective is you also need to understand how these disruptive technologies can help you solve your problems, optimize your processes, and reduce costs and so on. Of course, the whole point of a digital innovation hub, I would say that the crucial point is to allow companies to test disruptive technology before they go all in with investments. And then, of course, the goal for the company is to create value for their customers. And so these technologies need to help them do that. And also support business ecosystem evolution, as mentioned before. And Dolores also mentioned innovation. So all these technologies can help customers of a DIH to support innovation processes and idea acceleration. The reality of what we found out was, as I mentioned, the distance from decision centers and technological infrastructure does create some issues, particularly because it's still a recent project, and we can't knock on the door to get help, immediate help. And so the distance still plays an effect on us. Because we're a small economy, tourism is a main sector, and most of our companies are micro companies with less than 10, less than 5 employees. And of course, the island typical problem of brain drain. We're competing for our young talent with stronger economies, but also with companies that work in these areas. And our learnings, a bit of our learnings, which can be kind of some advice for you. So the first thing we figured out is that we need to build trust. So when we talk of the Smart Islands Hub as a digital innovation hub, I mean, who is or what is the Smart Islands Hub? Because a lot of times people see Erditi or see the university, and so you need to build trust, you need to build a brand that's known for what it's done. And then focus. We didn't focus, now we're trying to focus. The sexy topics that I mentioned, like artificial intelligence and cybersecurity, are key. And then, of course, your target audience. When we started this project, we were thinking leaving no organization and no one behind. And that's a really cool idea, and I still believe in that. But particularly in the beginning, while you haven't built your brand, it's very hard to do this. So maybe define a concrete target audience, focus on them, and as you start building your brand and start helping organizations, then start bringing in everyone else. And that was essentially what I had to bring for you today. Thank you.
Thank you, Paulo. Thank you so much. Very insightful presentation. And we are going to go now for Anixi Antonakodi from the Digital Innovation Hub in Cyprus. Anixi, if you want to, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for inviting us. I will go on to share the presentation that we have prepared for today. And I hope you can see the presentation mode, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so let's start. So good afternoon. I'm going to present DIGIN. So DIGIN is the name of the European Digital Innovation Hub, DIHs in Cyprus, which is the only one, and it is co-funded by the Digital Euro program. Aligned with the program's goals, it acts as the enabling mechanism supporting organizations to respond to digital challenges and become more competitive. We concentrate on two target groups, the ecosystem of SMEs. Currently, there are over 100,000 registered companies in Cyprus, 95 of which are in the micro SME category, so 1 to 9 employees. Our aim is to help them elevate their digital maturity, either by improving their digital skills or by uptaking some digital tools and technologies. On the other side, we are aiming to help the public sector become more catalytic in elevating the productivity and competitiveness of Cyprus through the use of digital tools, and especially by providing better services to citizens. Being the only EDI, we had to actually focus on all the criticals and provide help on all the critical technology areas highlighted by the European Commission: AI, high-performance computing, cybersecurity, and other advanced enabling technologies, ICT, IoT, etc. And we are also aligned with the smart specialization strategy of Cyprus regarding the economy. And we target beneficiaries from the following economic sectors. The first three are the ones that are mostly contributing to the GDP of the country. So it's tourism, construction, and the related manufacturing industry and services. Our economy is more than 70% service-based. And then for diversification purposes, we're trying to actually elevate shipping, transport, the energy sector, especially the renewable, and agri-food. DIGIN is co-funded also by the Deputy Ministry of Research, Innovation and Digital Policy in Cyprus, 25%, and the other 25% is covered by the consortium's own funds. So to achieve all of these objectives that we've mentioned, we brought together within a structured framework almost all the major national stakeholders representing industry, business, innovation, entrepreneurship, academia, research and development. So this combination includes Cyprus' leading research, innovation and technical expertise. We engage centers of excellence, the largest public universities, multinational large tech consultancy organization. The Cyprus Institute is a coordinator of this effort. We have the two countrywide business and industrial representation bodies, so the Cyprus Chamber of Commerce and the Cyprus Employers and Industrials Federation. This helps being more effective in our networking, matchmaking activities, and we have a direct channel for gathering sectoral intelligence, industry needs, challenges. And of course, we didn't leave the innovation behind, and entrepreneurship. We partner with innovation startup ecosystem representatives, as we need to support new startups, new businesses with their digital transformation for enabling products and services, mainly. As mentioned by the previous speakers, our main focus is the test before invest service. We recognize that each customer is unique in terms of maturity level, needs, and required services. That's why the customer journey until its completion takes a lot more time than we anticipated, because each customer is individually assessed and provided with those services that match better their needs and expectations. So the test before invest service is basically, we try to provide a taste of a bigger scale digital transformation activity program. The rationale is straightforward because we want to ensure that the proposed solution meets the customer needs and expectations. It reduces risks of wrong choice of tools and unnecessary costs, and it increases customer satisfaction and the trust and confidence that the technology can be scaled up for the company. We initiate the digital customer journey with initiation of the formation of the digital transformation roadmap. So this is the plan that basically involves understanding the current client needs, the digital maturity level, and where the areas of improvement are. And then based on the full customer analysis, Digital helps them to decide which digital initiatives and which services basically to pursue first to maximize impact. Of course, we offer the other three type of services, which is training and upskilling, support to find investment, networking, and matchmaking, either as a standalone service, especially in cases where we cannot really apply a test before invest, or in combination with a test before invest, so that we can either help in supporting the seeking of funding for scale up, meeting the necessary actors so that the project can take place, and also train about specific technologies. Okay, moving on. We have to actually mention that beyond the hub's role in providing services to support the digital transformation of the separate ecosystem, we have undertaken another activity, which is to support the correct targeting and selection of digital tools and technologies for the most important sectors of the economy that we have mentioned before. So we are operating 6 sectoral working groups and 2 horizontal collaborative formations for the purpose of identifying specific sectoral challenges and needs of each sector, and investigate and propose possible solutions for the digital transformation of each sector. The 2 horizontal formations help us ensuring that the proposed digital solutions should align with the UN Sustainable Development Goals and also with the twin of green and digital transition goals of the European Union. And they are focused on environment, especially decarbonization, circular economy, and healthy living. So what effect the digital technology or the uptake would have to the workers, actually the employees, as well as the citizens. In all the formed groups and clusters, we bring together the key stakeholders in a quintuple helix approach, combining people from industry, technology innovation, research, academia, and public sector and the government, and regulatory bodies as well. All these, we believe that they can set the framework, they have a better idea of setting the right framework of needs, propose the solutions that will lead to the digital upgrade of the economy and society. Out of this process and effort, we are aiming to produce 6 sectoral technology roadmaps to be communicated at policy level as well for future use and future actions by the Cypriot government. Our results so far, yes?
Excuse me, sorry, Anixia, we need to be ending. Sorry, we are running out of time. Okay, thank you.
Yes, this is more or less the what we have offered so far. So we have basically serviced 123 entities with 273 services. I mean, you can see the rest when we share the presentation. And before moving on, I would like to actually show you 3 examples of test before invest service that we have provided. We try to support, for example, some companies with their challenges regarding by the unmonitored and uncontrolled indoor environment, leading to inefficiencies and potential suboptimal working conditions. So we provide a solution involving implementing advanced IoT-driven monitoring and control networks, granting autonomous regulation of the air conditioning for improved indoor and air quality with their respective benefits. Another solution was the implementation of the building information modeling systems for construction industry, where we tried to tackle the most pervasive challenges like fragmented information, unstandardized data for construction projects. The implementation of this was helpful because it leads to better data management, coordination, significant resource optimization, cost reduction, improved quality of deliverables, and of course, better collaboration of all the entities involved in construction projects. And the third example has to do with cybersecurity for clinical test providers, where we actually try to help them build a better information security system to handle threats, either internal or external. So this was done by the provision of vulnerability assessment, identification of potential entry points, and this led to the better protection of data and, of course, help them comply better with NIS2 and the cybersecurity regulation. That's all from us. Thank you. We can take questions later. I will now stop sharing.
Yes. I see you have a question. Thank you, Anixi.
Yes.
I see you have a question already in chat for later.
Okay.
So, okay, now Nicola Bianchi, please, the floor is yours. Nicola, maybe he's not connected. Okay, we'll jump to Damir Medved from Croatia.
Okay, hello everybody. Very glad to hear that we have quite a lot of the progress in these existing edicts. We also are working more than 2.5 years and have basically did most of our planned work. Let me now just share my presentation. Okay, I hope the slides are visible. So basically what we did, I will skip all these theoretical stories because we already heard a lot about that. As said, we are European Digital Innovation Hub. We are based in Rijeka in Croatia, and we are covering the Adriatic coast of the Croatia with our services. So what I will tell a little bit about how we make kind of evolution from pure providing some services to creating the set of additional tools and the products that can be replicated and used in our region. So in our case, we have our consortium consists of 6 members. 2 are universities of Rijeka and Pula, which are providing, let's say, research capabilities. Then we have leaders, technological leaders in our region, Ericsson, Nikola Tesla, and the Infobip. These are 2 very large companies with a global footprint. And then also we have local business development institutions, Step3, Porin, and the Smart3, which are basically providing kind of the business services which are needed for our users. As said, we are based on some definitions. We are financed from the European part, from Digital Europe, but also 50% is financed by the Croatian government. And methodological approach is basically defined by this global kind of procedures defined for the European Digital Innovation Hubs and the networks. But basically, we are collecting or we are gathering experts from different areas. We are defining the services we can provide with them, and that's this blend of industry expertise and the university expertise is then used to provide very tailored services to our users. As said previously, our core service or core deliverable is a test before invest. It's a key service where we provide to our users customized services, but very, very important was this training and education. That was some of the issues we had at the beginning of our project 2.5 years ago, where this lack of the education created some of the issues. But when we resolved this, when we adapted our training to actual needs of the users, then we are able to move forward. So let me show you some of the statistics where we are currently. As said, we are providing services to the Adriatic coast. Currently, we almost basically booked all of our services. We achieved most of our KPIs, and we are now in the last 6 months of the project, and we are basically finishing what we are doing. In our case, we also started with the multiple areas of providing information from AI, kind of access to high computing services and many others, but the demand of the market was mostly regarding the artificial intelligence. So I would say the most of the services we provided were based or connected with the AI. This is our structure of our customers or users. What we have, as you can see, mostly there is almost 600 of them. Most of them are small, medium, and micro enterprises, and that's the reason why we needed to adapt a little bit of our approach to provide these specific services for these smaller organizations. Currently, I would say we are basically quite highly ranked among the most of the European DIHs as we basically achieved all our targets. But let's go a little bit in more detail. I would say the core question was have very detailed analysis of all our users. So we are using this digital maturity assessment. It's a unified European methodology, which allowed us to have a kind of a common denominator, which allowed us to, with the same approach, to measure capabilities of particular companies, but also we can see how our companies are ranking with the rest of Europe. So we performed quite a lot of them. And for example, if you talk about the public organizations, we saw that the main challenges are these data management, the problem of the lack of the quality, the quality of the data, how data is let's say, managed. That's one of the fundamental problems, because without data, you cannot have any kind of AI services. Then also we see the problem of this interoperability and kind of the silos which are present. Regarding the small and medium enterprises, I would say the most or the key problem was the lack of the education on the artificial intelligence and in general how the new technologies can be applied in their particular work. So when we analyzed all the data, you can see that again the most of the companies, this red represents not good and blue it's better. So in this case, you can immediately see from these dashboards that most of our companies really had not a lot of knowledge about new technologies. So in that sense, what we provided quite a lot of the education for them. We educated more than 3,000 people in our project up to this moment, and I would say that we quite a lot changed their perception of what is the most appropriate way to implement these new technologies there. As said here, we already delivered almost all tests before invest planned for us. Basically, also we consumed all the budget that was allocated for our EDIH, and now we are looking forward to the EDIH 2.0. We applied for the next round. We'll go there. So if you talk about what we are providing, and I would say again, the most interesting part for our user was the question how these new technologies can be adapted in economical way to their particular business processes and activities what they are doing. So almost 70 of our test before investees, all of them were individually tailored for that. Now, what are some results? And some conclusions and some preparations what we did. So we basically decided that we would try to identify how much of these 70 TBIs can be converted in kind of microservices. So some of the results or some of the technologies applied and so forth, we decided that they can be kind of, we can make kind of a component from that can be later reused. So that was the process we did. As our, I would say, our genesis of our EDIH was coming from the smart cities, and most of our users are actually communities or local communities. In that sense, we created the number of the microservices, which are helping them to calculate or simulate different aspects of the work of each of the, for example, this municipality from one side, and from the other side for the small and medium enterprise to provide or to identify what kind of services they can create, which can be then applied in the context of these small cities. So we created the number of different, for each of the client, we basically created kind of different service, which was then converted what we call microservices. So in this case, I'm showing you the microservices for the public administration. So the different types of the AI assistants, which are enabling us to create a very fast different types of the services to customize that service. These assistants were mostly targeting the communication with the citizens. They are providing advanced services, reducing the burden on the public servants, which actually providing them more time to maybe to deal with more complex problem, and all the easier problems are basically dealt with these different AI agent. As said, we really there are a number of these agents developed from the different kind of communication avatars where you can discuss or ask for a certain question which is related with your community. You can get some information. You can. We also created a number of the simulation tools which are enabling municipalities, for example, to optimize the traffic flows or cooperate with the citizens to define maybe the next generation of the transport system, maybe to transform current public transport systems into maybe on demand and stuff like that. And maybe the last thing interesting is the number of the projects did with this citizen energy metering optimization, infrastructure optimization and stuff like that. So basically, idea behind was to create modules which are prefabricated somehow, and then when a new user is coming, we can do this customized proof of concept or test before invest, concentrating not so much on technology, but mostly on what is the specific need of that particular customer. So what is the kind of the conclusions? The first and fundamental problem was lack of education. So you can't do anything within any kind of user, both from the public authorities, but also from the private, if the people which are present there are not educated. So I would say the first thing was to push them into this kind of continuous learning. So we are providing educational services for them, and I would say that, as I said, we educated more than 3,000 people. So this is quite a lot of the people that now have this quite some of them basic knowledge about, for example, AI technologies, but most of them also have quite detailed programmatic knowledge. Second thing was a question of this digital transformation, that we are not providing technologies that will remove them from the jobs they have. We are although there is some kind of capabilities that AI or similar technologies can replace job, but we are always creating the solutions or that are basically assisting them to be more productive. And because in Croatia there is a big problem currently, there is a very big lack of workforce. We are now finally came also in that phase that usually Croatia was exporter of the people. Our people are working around Europe, and now we have this issue that we don't have enough people. So AI, whatever we were doing here, was done to help them. And the second thing, what was quite important, here is on the picture, you can see some of the agents, example of the agents we created, which is providing some services and explaining. So problem was the accuracy and quality of existing data. That was a problem. And now we did quite a lot of the effort to educate them and train them that you cannot do anything with AI if you don't have data sorted and prepared in a way that then any kind of the AI agent can use, and then based on this information can provide some services.
Sorry, Damir, we need to end, please.
Yeah, this is my last slide, basically.
Okay,
there are some ethical challenges also present here. That's important that people understand that all AI technologies or whatever you are doing, it should be based on some ethical, background, and that's what we are doing. So we are on the end. If there are any kind of further questions regarding what we did and about our microservices, I'm very happy to answer on that.
Okay, thank you very much, and sorry for the hurry. And now I think we have some technical problems, but I think we have Nicola Bianchi now. See if his microphone is working. He's connected, but there are some technical issues. Okay, it's not working, I'm afraid. Okay, so let's then give some time for questions now. We'll try to get back to Nicola, but meanwhile, there were some questions on the chat. Just one second. Okay, so Olga was asking, how is about the finance, the fee that companies have to pay to the digital innovation hubs?
Yeah,
yes,
well,
Anixi?
Yes.
I don't know. Okay, Anixi.
Yes, in our case, there is no fee. So what I think most of us forgot to mention is that at least for our case, the services are free of charge for the beneficiary. Because what we get as co-funding from the Digital Euro program, from the Deputy Minister here, and from our own resources, is going towards covering the expenses of the provision of the services. However, as we got money from the state, and it is national funds, we are under the spectrum of the state aid. So we had to actually create a special plan, state aid plan, under the public aid authority in Cyprus, which is under GBER, actually, Article 28, which allows up to 50% of state aid funding towards the beneficiary. However, we have to have an application, a clear interest from the beneficiary, and then they have to go through all the customer journey. We have to provide a simple, let's say, contract with the price of the service. And then out of that, we have to say that a percentage of that is state aid. And if they are eligible to get it, they have to be an SME. So it's a declaration of SME plus a statement from the audit company they are provided service with about their financial viability. So, which is something common to all state aid funding mechanisms.
I can add it's exactly the same in Croatia. but that was quite a lot of the burden for our project. So there was a lot of the paperwork that was initially not, I would say, not envisioned, but as we have exactly the same situation in Cyprus, there was a lot of paperwork, and my colleagues in office spent quite a lot of time, managing all these documents but on the end, users accepted that. They figured out that the value we are providing is good for them. But also, I must say, maybe free of charge is they also have to provide their commitment. If they are sending their people or their employees to our education, where they are working on TBIs and so forth, so they are also investing quite a lot. But it's not the money; it's time of their employees.
Correct.
Okay, thank you both. And we have another question for Anixi. Anixi, please give some specific examples that you can contribute to the purpose of our project. I don't know if we lost also Anixi.
My mic was off.
Okay.
I believe that through the activity that we do, Work Package 7, the gathering of sectoral intelligence, trying to create a way of digitization in a more, let's say, structured approach of the economy sectors, we could provide some insight to some methodology. Of course, we are more tech-oriented hub, so it's we are not so much trying to build the business model, rather than actually supporting the uptake of technology, of digital technology. However, through our partners, for example, one of our partners is PwC, Cyprus, a beneficiary could actually proceed to an outside ED service and continue with some, let's say, consultancy about how to build a business model to elevate the company as a whole, to become more competitive.
Okay, thank you. There are a couple of questions in the chat. Many thanks to all the presenters. Okay, so as an TUV certified AI trainer and co-founder of AI Experts Network, I like to collaborate with DIH at European level. How is this possible?
Well, that's a question of you should probably contact, if you're not a member of any DIH or EDIH, you should contact your national contact points, see who they are, and then see maybe you can join them and somehow and so forth. Basically, the European Digital Innovation Hubs, we have our own program, our own ecosystem so we are usually not taking any kind of external assistance, but we have cooperation together. Obviously, if there is something we are not covering, then we are inviting first the national level, which is easier, but if this is not available, then we can also go international. So for you as an individual, I would recommend that you are going to your national EDIH and then see how you can establish some kind of cooperation for them. And maybe immediately while I'm talking, there was a question about these associations. So associations are not eligible, but in our case in Croatia. So we cannot provide to associations any support.
In our case, they are eligible, because when we say SMEs, in the way that we formed our state aid plan, we specifically put associations and other, let's say, private entities to be defined by their size and turnover. So associations can be also covered by the DIHs service provision. And we also abide with de minimis for semi-government entities, because GBER is not covering semi-government entities. So basically, we try to include everybody.
Again, it should be checked national. There are a lot of this national component inside, and you have to check with your national authority what is eligible and what is not.
Okay, thank you. We're going to try for the last time to get Nicola on board. We really don't know what's going on with the technical set, but let's wait for a few minutes, please. Meanwhile, are there any other questions? Now is the time.
Don't be afraid.
Yes.
Anyway, I can recommend, it was mentioned in the beginning by Dolores, this catalog. You know, there is, you have all relevant information there. Also, you can check the success stories. I think it's a very valuable, there is a site, DTA site, where there is a lot of these presented success stories and good examples from each of the countries participating and edicts there. And it's a very, very valuable source of, you can get many ideas there, maybe some contacts and so forth. So I would say spending some time on DTA site is a good idea. You know?
Okay. Okay, we are really sorry, but it seems that we cannot get Nicola. Maybe we can arrange his contribution for the next international course. I think that was a really insightful session. And thank you all for joining. And we'll see you in the next course. I think it's going to be next September, October. We'll let you know. So thank you all for joining. And I hope this was very helpful for you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lydia. I'm Nicola. Really sorry. I was thinking the same as Lydia. Maybe in the next second international course, you will be able to present. It's frustrating. It's a pity. So just to reminding final words. Okay, please, you have in the chat a very, very short survey that please we kindly ask you to fulfill. It's because you know European projects need to be some kind of reporting, okay? And that's it. I would like to thank all the speakers for the collaboration, contribution, presentation. You Revive partners as always, and participants for being here. I hope this has been a very useful webinar to learn more, and see you in the next international course. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Bye-bye.